Good morning. It's a scorcher already. It's almost 90 degrees and I don't know, I think it's like 11 o'clock. We're getting a bit of a late start today because I came out here to do this and realized that I was all out of spray paint to mark the ground, as you might be able to see there. So I had to run to town. We were doing pretty good, but one trip to town, it is what it is. So anyway, we got our first leach line marked out. That's about 80 feet, 75 feet. We have to do 4 lines. I got a string line here and I'm just going down and spray painting so I know where to dig. And then I need 6 foot between the trenches of undisturbed soil. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown. We're gonna get it all dug out. We'll have our pipe will come up through this trench. It'll hit a distribution box, splash box, whatever you want to call it. And then we can run it down to the chambers. So these will be nice and flat and level. I think we can have between 2 and 6 inches of variation between like the height of the chambers. So that way, say this first chamber is at grade or where we need to be, not necessarily grade. The next one could be say 2 inches below that. And then when that fills up those 2 inches, it'll creep into the next one. So you can have that little bit of variance for your tanks to drain. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint this. We got 6 more lines to spray paint, and then we can start playing on the excavator and start digging. All right, we're ready. So the important thing with these lines is they have to go straight across this hill. We can't go down the hill like this, because when the water drains, it's all gonna drain down into the end. We need to go straight across so that the water gradually flows over. So that's why we're set up the way that we're set up. And then doing it like this in the future, if it's allowed, I'm not sure, we could add on, I could probably add on 2 or 3 more lines if I had to, and if we're allowed to. That's way down the line, so I'm not too worried about that. So I guess time to fire up the excavator, get out of the heat, sit in the AC, and start digging some holes. The trench is dug. So I got my laser down there, and we're gonna go plus or minus 3 inches. I'll be happy. I think I can do more than that, but I'll be happy with that. So he is baling our hay today. So it's gonna get a little noisy. So I'm just gonna go down there. I'll try to yell out what our numbers are. He may or may not be able to hear me, but we'll see where we're at. All right, so there's our 0. Dang, that's pretty good. That's 7/8 of an inch low there. Not a huge deal. (13/16). That's about 1.25 inches. 7/8. (1.25 inches). Dang, I'll take it. I hope it's wide enough. It might be a little narrow there, so I'll probably have to widen that trench a little bit down there, which I can already tell it's too narrow. So I think I'm just going to widen it a little bit right now, and then we have to start laying our tanks from down there. So I'll do that, and then we'll run this way and see how many we can get. Well, he's cutting hay and it's noisy, and then this thing's noisy, so I'm gonna leave you guys with time lapse of hay cutting and digging this second ditch, and then we'll pick back up. Good morning. Well, I didn't get as far as I wanted to yesterday, but such is life, and that's the way things go. But second trench is dug, leveled, measured. That one was a little bit worse than this one. That one's within 2.5 inches front to back, so it's still not terrible. This one was a lot closer, within, I think I said 1.5 inches. But they're ready to go. One thing I did find that I thought about prior to, but once I got in the heat of it, I forgot. I need to lay the chambers in once I get a trench dug, because when I was putting this dirt in here in the middle, it started falling in this trench. So I had to, last night, scoop that out. So I'm gonna set these 2 rows first, and then I'll start digging my third one. That way if anything falls on, it's falling on top of the chamber and not in my trench. The other thing is it'll give me an idea, because this first one was only like 77 feet and I need 76 feet. So this one might be like 1 chamber short of being all even, but this one I added a little bit so that we might be able to fit 1 extra over there, and then I could always make those other 2 trenches longer. I just need minimum 4 trenches and 308 feet of line. It doesn't really matter how you do it. I could do 2, I could do 30, I could do 10. It doesn't matter, however works. So I got them kind of laid out up there as close to the trench as I can, and hopefully I can pull them down in, and I'll show you how they click together. All right, so our first one is an end cap. It's So that's just gonna go here. And it has this little splash guard that you need to pop off. It's got these little tabs that fit right here. So what that's gonna do is when the water comes through, it'll hit this and not ruin the, not make a big hole in the ground there. So these have an inlet side, which is there, and an outlet side, which is right there. Well, for whatever reason, the camera decided it wanted to shut off. So these things kind of just snap together. And the end cap goes over top of the first one and it snaps in, and then these ones just kind of hook. I did run into being a little too narrow right here, just in this one spot. So I'll just dig it out a touch. All right, so we'll try that. I'll show you how to. They just kind of sit on top of the previous one, and then they just kind of click together. And they do have a little bit of wiggle room that you can turn them side to side. There we go. Now they're snapped into place. So what I'm gonna do is I get a few of them on there. I can't backfill completely yet, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of dirt up just to hold them in place. And then we'll just keep moving down. All right, so that trench should probably be the hardest because it was the first one I was digging, and I don't well, I know I didn't go wide enough at the start, so I did have to dig a little bit out, but you can see it kind of snakes a little bit. It's not going to be perfectly straight, but I was 2 chambers short. I could probably fit one more, but I wouldn't be able to fit an end cap. So I'm just going to take the excavator down there once I get done with these trenches and dig that a little bit deeper, and I'm going to put 3 there, so I'll have an extra one on the first row, because that ground does slope off over there. But I may extend the second row too. I'm gonna lay the chambers in the second row first, like right now, and then we'll see where we're at as far as how many, and then we'll see how many are left, and we can kind of gauge from there. So this one went a little bit deeper. I'm closer to 32 inches on the low side, or on the high side here, 36 on the low side, whereas that one was a little bit shallower. So it's not a big deal, we got plenty of space, but we'll put these ones in, trying to get this done before the heat, and then I can dig trenches in the heat and then lay the chambers this afternoon when it cools back down again. All right, that was a heck of a lot easier when the trench was big enough. Only a couple areas I had to just level out a little hump to get them to snap in, but this one had 18. We're shooting for 19 per trench. That'll get us 308 foot. The first one had 17. So I do have enough room for one more here, which would be 18. I'll probably do 18 there and 20 on this one, maybe. Well, I'm gonna have to dig them both out a little bit, so yeah. I have enough room for one more here probably, but I don't have room for an end cap, so I'll have to dig it out. And then that one I'll just dig out for 2 and an end cap. And then I have a line here that I remarked. That's where I need to get to for the last one. And you'll see I added more marks. I was getting close to 5.5 foot between trenches, and by the time I widened them, I figured I'll just expand. So I gave myself a little bit more room and remarked, but I'm gonna jump on the excavator and we'll start digging again. All right, I don't know, the camera is overheating and turning off, so I don't know what the last thing you saw is, but we got it all dug out. I got the chambers set next to them. They brought me lunch out here, but they're gonna go back inside because it's a scorcher today again. So I got it kind of raked. It's nice and level, plus or minus 2 inches, and we're ready to start putting in the chambers. This one I'm gonna do, this one will have 19. I think what I'm going to end up doing is the last one will do 18, 19, and then this one and this one I might add, or I might do 17, 19, 20, and 20, I think is what I'm going to end up doing, but or something like that, however it works out. I think I need 19 and a quarter if I do it by 4, so however it works out. But I got more room on a hill up here. When I go down there, it kind of it starts dropping off this way, it's a little bit harder to dig out. So we'll toss these bad boys in. That click is what we want to hear every time. You didn't hear it on the first one because I'm not too concerned about that, because I'm going to have to take it off to drill my holes for the pipe. Whew. Things are warm. All right, that took, it was sped up for you guys, but that took, I think it was like 9 minutes, 20 seconds or something like that. They're pretty quick, especially when your trench is wide enough. This trench is kind of zigzags. I don't know what I was paying attention to when I was driving, but clearly it wasn't the ground. So I just counted, I have 22 left over. This end over here is almost, it's probably long enough for one, but not long enough for one with an end cap. So I'm going to dig out this one a little bit, add one more. This will have 21. That's got 20 right now. And then I'm going to dig out this one that has 19 and add 2. That'll be 21. And then I'm going to add 2 more to this one, which will be 20. So I'll have 20, 21, 21. And then the last one will be, should be 17, I think, to get us what we need, because I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but you can kind of see it, the hill gradually die down over there. So instead of trying to make that work, we'll just add it where we can. So I'll fire up the excavator and get back in the air conditioner. All right, here we go. Trench is dug out. I got it leveled with a rake, and now we are going to drop in all the chambers and hope that I have enough length in my trench, because I'd hate to have to keep digging. But I think it's 17 that we have to get put in, and then we'll be done with the field lines. All right, well, they're all in. That trench was just long enough. So got all 4 sections in. Not too shabby. I do have to go back and add some dirt on the, like I did on this one, at all the joints, but it's hot out here. I don't even know what it is. Let's see what this says. '91. Fun. I think I'm gonna call it for the day. I might come out this afternoon if I get a wild hair and put the dirt on the joints once the sun goes down and it cools off about 15 degrees. But I'll leave you guys with drone shots of it all done. Whether I do it tonight or tomorrow morning, you guys won't know. It'll be here at the end. But with that said, I think that's where we're gonna leave this video. Leach field done. You already saw the tanks. Making progress. Next up, we got to plumb the whole thing, which I'm glad we didn't do plumbing in here, because that would have been a lot of work. But these chambers are awesome. If you are debating doing chambers, do chambers. You'll thank yourself. So anyway, with that said, that's where we're going to leave this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video. Well, so much for backfilling that tonight. Nice little summer storm coming through. I guess I'll have to do that in the morning and take footage and show you guys then.